What DLC should I get? This is a question that gets thrown around all the time on the various Payday 2 forums, and it's completely fair to ask. Payday 2 is jam-packed with paid DLC, and it's undeniable that some packs are better than others. Now, don't get me wrong, if you love the game and want to get all the DLC, go for it. I've done the same. However, for the majority of players, you'll likely want to stick to selectively picking the best DLC for your playstyle and tastes. There are plenty of reviews for DLC packs out there, including my own, but generally speaking, it seems most players gravitate towards similar DLC, the ones that add more and or better content than others. In this video, I've done my best to go through every DLC and find the ones that stand out in this fashion the most. The DLC that adds the most to your game for the least amount of money and gives players fun and viable options for every difficulty. I've narrowed it down to 5 DLCs. Well, 6 technically, but we'll get to that. I'll only speak briefly on why each DLC is worth a purchase in my eyes. However, if you want longer and more detailed information before making your decision, there are links in the description to my reviews of each and every DLC I'll talk about. Right then, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is the Butcher's Barbecue Pack. Released with the promise of deliciously deadly fire-based weaponry, this DLC did not disappoint. Boasting the Stakeout, more commonly known as the AA-12, a powerful auto shotgun with a deep magazine capacity. If shotguns aren't to your taste, then Piglet Grenade Launcher could be more to your liking, with 6 powerful blasts to send the SWAT packing. However, this weapon is held back by the painfully slow reload time, clocking it just shy of 14 seconds from empty. And for the main course, we have the Flamethrower. From a practicality point of view, this weapon falls flat due to its poor ammo efficiency and range, but it's unquestionably an entertaining weapon to use for casual play. As a side, this pack also sports the Motherforker, a surprisingly effective melee weapon relative to the state of melee in Payday 2. Molotov cocktails make for a refreshing throwable, providing effective area denial in tight corridors. The same effect can be accomplished with the incendiary rounds for grenade launchers at the cost of a nice bit of damage. And for dessert, we have the Dragon's Breath rounds for shotguns. Enemies struck with these rounds will ignite at nearly any range, stopping their actions and very likely their life. These rounds prove to be effective on each and every difficulty, 1 down included. Considering the amount of content in this pack, the majority of which being effective for higher difficulties, the barbecue pack is absolutely worth the bill. Fourth on this list will be the GAGE Historical Pack. Once upon a time, this pack was at the rear end of jokes from many heisters, me being one of them. This was due to none of the weapons offering much of anything over similar weapons from other DLC, as well as the Broomstick Pistol. The weapon formerly known as Shit has since taken its place as one of the best guns available for 1 down, offering massive damage and good ammo efficiency. If you're just looking to play on Deathwish or below, the Buzzsaw 42 LMG is a fantastic choice for spewing lead at intense speeds, shredding anything in your path. While the other 2 guns have since been arguably outclassed by other DLC, they aren't completely useless either. The Nagant is a reasonably viable sniper for dodge builds, being concealed enough to work with the ace to low blow and sneaky bastard skills. While there have since been snipers that can accomplish the same thing with the basic versions of these skills, the Nagant still holds a place in many players' hearts as the OG dodge sniper. The PACH SMG has very low damage and accuracy, but surprisingly good ammo efficiency, which could complement less ammo-efficient primaries quite well. Lastly, the Trench Knife and Spear of Freedom melee are, again relative to melee in this game, surprisingly good options for dodge and armor builds respectively. The amount of weapons that could be considered viable in this pack already make it a good choice in my eyes. However, the Broomstick being such a potent 1-down option puts this DLC just above the barbecue pack in my opinion. Consider checking it out. Winning 3rd place is the SCARFACE Character Pack. This may seem like a strange choice to some of you, considering a major component of character packs, being the character, can be good or bad entirely based on your opinion. However, not only do I feel that SCARFACE is an excellent heister, but there are 2 major items of interest in this DLC that offer great options for high difficulties. The Little Friend Rifle has the killing power of the M308, in addition to an under-barrel grenade launcher. This means you effectively get 3 weapon slots while using this weapon, being your rifle, grenade launcher, and secondary weapon of choice. On top of this, the ammo pickup rate of the underbarrel grenade launcher is massive, granting back all your grenades within a handful of ammo pickups. Finally, this pack adds the Kingpin perk deck. In exchange for your throwable weapon, you gain an adrenaline injector that provides 6 seconds of invincibility, not to mention a passive 80% health boost. This perk is extraordinarily potent for every difficulty if used correctly. While the injector does have a 24-second cooldown, kills scored during that cooldown will speed the process up. Overall, aside from subjective content, which I do feel is excellent, this pack does only add a single weapon and perk deck. However, both these additions are so powerful, I feel it wouldn't hurt to spend a little coke money on this DLC. Number 2 is the GAGE Spec Ops pack. Instead of adding a lot of weapons, this pack elects to add modifications for base game weapons. This includes guns such as the Compact 5, JP36, and Yzma. It's worth mentioning the Yzma mods allow it to become a potent auto-shotty for dodge builds. Additionally, there are magazine expansions for some pistols, a barrel extension for shotguns that tightens the spread making for easy multi-kills, sights for CQC and extreme range respectively, and most notably the speed pull mag for many assault rifles and SMGs. This mod cuts these weapon reload speeds in half at the cost of removing any extended mags you may have previously had equipped. On top of all of this, after completing a series of side jobs, this pack grants you the Arbiter Grenade Launcher, a mag-fed secondary weapon with a large ammo pool and relatively swift reload. This is personally my grenade launcher of choice, and I feel it is a very potent weapon for every difficulty. While other DLC tends to grant either a slew of weapon modifications or just new weapons themselves, the Spec Ops pack elects to do both. When paired with the remaining DLC I've yet to discuss, this pack makes several previously lackluster base game weapons shine bright. A worthwhile purchase for sure. Before checking out the top DLC on my list, I'd like to give an honorable mention to the Butcher's AK/Car mod pack. Similar to the Spec Ops pack, this DLC adds mods for several weapons, in this case any guns that are part of the AK or Car type families. These mods increase accuracy, damage, mag capacity, so on and so forth. Most notably, this DLC includes DMR kits for multiple assault rifles, increasing their damage dramatically at the cost of ammo capacity. This would all be well and good if not for one major drawback. In order to unlock these modifications, you'll find yourself trying to get a crew of 4 together to complete some obnoxious achievements. Without 3 friends willing to grind for achievements with you, this DLC is as good as useless. So, if you have a crew ready and are willing to play through Firestarter with unmodded AKs and Paras alongside a slew of other similar challenges, then this DLC is a great choice. However, if you're like most players who can't get a crew willing to cooperate together, then give this DLC a wide berth. Finally, the number 1 DLC I would recommend you buy for Payday 2 is the GAGE mod Courier pack. I'm sure most of you saw this coming, but for new players, I'll go over my reasoning. The default system of unlocking weapon mods in Payday 2 is a bit lacking, to put it lightly. Card drops are complete RNG, and while Continental coins do help by allowing direct purchases of modifications, it is a bit pricey considering the sheer volume of mods required for effective weapon customization. Enter the mod Courier job. Basically, in every heist there are these colorful packages hidden about. When collected, every player in the lobby will receive one of the packages. Of course, unless the player owns the DLC, they won't actually receive anything from the packages, aside from a small experience bonus. The amount of packages required to unlock its contents varies depending on the package type. For instance, one will need to find 5 green mantis packages to receive its rewards, but 25 purple snakes for those rewards. Once a sufficient amount of packages have been acquired, one of each of the mods inside of it will be added to your inventory, and you can do this in indefinite amount of times, meaning so long as you keep playing heists and any players in your lobby pick up packages, you'll passively earn the weapon mods without much effort. And the mods themselves are the backbone of weapon modification in Payday in general. Barrel extensions for most guns to increase accuracy, stability, and damage, grips and stocks to increase accuracy or concealment, laser gadgets, a wide variety of sights, scope mounts for the Bronco and Deagle, and to top it all off, quad stacked magazines for the AK and Car type rifles, adding 30 bullets to each of their mag capacities. These mods don't just improve the viability of most of Payday's vanilla weapons, they do for almost every weapon in the game. Practically every gun with any sort of semblance of modifications will be able to take one or more of the mods from this DLC. Considering how easy these mods are to unlock, how extraordinarily powerful they are, and how cheap this DLC is, especially during sales, I'd say the GAGE mod Courier pack is unquestionably a must-buy. If you don't own it already, grab it as soon as possible. And that's about it. Of course, your opinions may vary from mine, however I do believe with certainty that the mod Courier pack is the best DLC in the game. There's other DLC packs that just barely didn't make it on this list, namely the GAGE Shotgun pack and the Wolf pack. Those are good DLC for sure, but I wouldn't go as far as to put them in my personal top 5. You may disagree with me, and that is completely fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. On the other end of the spectrum, you shouldn't just blindly buy buy any DLC that someone on the internet tells you to. Do some research and make sure you won't regret the purchase. I'll restate that there are links in the description to my reviews of all the DLC on this list. Lastly, I'd like to remind you to join the Payday 2 Steam group if you haven't already. You get about as much content as all of this DLC combined for doing so, and it's completely free. That'll be everything. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.